Hello friends, as we were discussing the changes in language in 18th century in Shakespearean age as well. So in this video we'll discuss the problems of refining language, causes of language corruption, proposal solution of language corruption, and then colonialism and linguistic effects as well. So let's get begin by problem of refining and fixing the language. So during 18th century, we saw there were some problems with the language, and the issues that faced by English language include the standardization issue and greatest need of dictionary and grammar. Purity of language should be achieved, and variety was seen as a negative, and negative test of modern expressions was their bias and subjectivity. So these are the most prominent issues or problems faced by English language. So the problem of refining language and fixing language, will discuss each and everything in detail. So the problems of refining language, so there was a lack of certainty and standard was noticeable in English in 18th century. Lack of standardization was there, so which blame for the corruption of language, and people saw language in decline, and many tried to look back to a golden age. And Triton, most important figure, and he looked back at the age of Chaucer. Chaucer, an important figure in history of English literature and language as well, and he used to write in English language when it was time of French or other languages dominant, and English was language of commoners. So Chaucer tried to bring development in English language. And Jonathan Swift, another important figure, and he was of the Elizabethan age, and he also contributed in English language. His Swift proposal will discuss in some videos, and it was felt that the Civil War and afterwards had been all parts of decline, and Dr. Samuel Johnson, his dictionary was very prominent contribution in English language, and there was an attitude in 18th century that English need to be purified and have its imperfection removed. And Jonathan Swift was seen as the end of classical period of English, and he was conservative in language. Proposal, Jonathan Swift proposal, known as Swift proposal, and Swift conservatism came from his political and religious affiliations, and he opposed innovations, and there are three major innovations Swift opposed. The first one, tendency to clip and shorten words, and second one, tendency to contracted verbs, and third one, the vague popularity of certain words among those of wit and fashionable. And he attacked all of these in a letter to Tetla in 1710, and then 2 years later in his work Proposal for Correcting, Improving, Ascertaining English Tongue, English Language. So causes of language corruption, Jonathan Swift, as we discussed Swift proposal, he wrote a letter to Robert, Earl of Oxford, and he says that our language is extremely imperfect, and he offends every part of grammar. English is less refined language, and Latin was not in its purity. So he opposed the changes which bring by other poets of his age. They borrow words from other languages, and so he just tried to refine language, so making Latin words in English as compared to old Saxons. And causes of language corruption includes variation in orthography, that is spelling. So variation in spelling was there. And Edward the Confessor, who was the son of Ethelred the Unready, bought French words in English first time, and French proposed under Henry II, King of France, visited England and France. So this is Jonathan proposal, modest proposal by Jonathan Swift. And causes of language corruption, we'll see more causes include French English, which is unintelligible. French influence was there on English, and people came from other areas of Rome and made colonies. And Goths and Vandals, these are Eastern Germanic groups, and they attacked the Roman Empire. And other include wit, eloquence, rhetoric didn't prosper in English language. That was the problem, language corruption. And Chinese have over 2000 years old books, and the code should be for correctness of speech. Poets from Restoration period spoiled English language. Abbreviations made poetic licensable. This was just proposals of Jonathan. And he prose writing also corrupted English language. And fancy, fashionable, direct about maiming of language and destroying the etymology, difficult to read modern books. These are the proposals made by Jonathan, and some more foolish ideas to have same sound and spellings, orthography that is related to, and fear of pedantry. Pedantry is a person who pays more attention to formal rules, book learning, and we are naturally not very polite. And women discard consonant and males discard vowels. This was another problem in English language. So in his proposal, he discussed all of these problems within English language, and now we'll discuss solution of language corruption. So free, judicious, sensible, thoughtful choice, and fix of rule to fix some rules, some grammatical rules to refine language, and many words should be thrown out of language that are the borrowed words, and many words should be corrected. So it is better that a language should not be wholly perfect than that it should perpetually changing. So simplicity should be brought into language as perfection in any language. And Horace, who was a Roman poet and satirist, he said that words going off and perishing like leaves and new coming into their place. Yes, language change, old words they perish and new come into their place, and glory of king will increase. So history preserve language. So rude Latin of monks is still very unintelligible. Now we'll see Ascertainment. So it attempt to codify English appeared under these main heads. The first one was to reduce the language to rule and set up a standard of correct usage. So it demands a standardization of language and to refine it, to remove the defects and introduce certain improvements, and to fix it to a desired form permanently. That should set up a standard, cannot change with time, and it's set up permanently. And defects of English has become very obvious at this point, and all of this regulation and standardization summed up in the word ascertainment, and different forces in this word as compared to now. And so this word also mean learned by inquiry as to a settle a matter, and Jonathan Swift defined it as a settled rule, established standard. And now we'll see colonialism and its linguistic effects. The Native Americans, known as moccasin, so they are a flight shoes that is made from soft leather and has large stitches around the front. So they are described by such people. And Spanish and Portuguese they influence the language through Mexico, Chile, Tomato, and Cuba and West Indies. So these words have been introduced from these people: barbecue, canoe, potato, tobacco, Indians, curry, jungle, and then African banana, gorilla, zebra, Australian kangaroo. Basically, these all are borrowers from other languages into English. So grammarians, vocabulary formation, we'll see So vocabulary developed from this borrowing process, and there are four main kinds of verb formation. Though there are many processes, word formation processes, I discussed them in detail video. The video is available on my channel. I'll provide you link as well, where I discuss all these word formation processes: compounding, borrowing, prefixing, suffixing, bag formation, and many processes are there. So there are all of these, you see, acronyms, blending, bag formation, clipping, coinage, all of these. Grammarians, vocabulary formation, and some of these rule systems that govern a language include phonological, morphological, syntax, semantics, and pragmatic. These are all branches of linguistics, An introduction to passives. So why they were introduced, why they came into English, and so with agent, he buys a gift. A gift is bought by him. So active and passive voice have been introduced. About these active and passive voices, and to make it easier. So this is all for this video. Hope you understand. The notes are in the description. Thank you for watching.